श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् अपार करुणा सिन्धुं ज्ञानदं शान्तरूपिणं श्रीचन्द्रशेखरेन्द्रगुरुं प्रणमामि मुदान्वहं सद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। In Viveka Chudamani, we are seeing the answer for this question. What causes Maya? What causes Maya? Or what causes bondage? It is Maya that causes bondage. How does Maya cause bondage? Maya, previously we have seen, it's got two Shaktis, two powers. One is Avarana Shakti, that is power of wheeling, power of covering, and another is Vikshepa Shakti, that is power of projection. This is like you have a painting in the wall and you recently bought a projector. We want to project some movie onto the same wall where there is a painting. What would we do? We will put a screen in front of the painting and we will project the movie onto the wall. The wall is the same, but now for an experiencer, for the observer, the painting disappears and the movie appears. So we have to understand the example properly. There is a wall, there is a painting. As an experiencer, you want to watch a movie with a projector. You cannot project movie directly onto the wall with the painting because the painting, the color in the painting is going to disturb your movie. So what we will do, we will put a screen in front of the painting and we will then project a movie so that the observer can then watch the movie easily. The screen is the Avarana Shakti because the screen covers what is already existing in the wall. Already there is a beautiful picture, there is a beautiful painting, of a rose or of Krishna with all the gopikas, a very beautiful sight. It is already there in the wall. But you are watching an Goramana movie, you are watching, a pay padam like Saw or something like that. So the wall is the same. Whatever that exists in the wall, it still exists. The beautiful painting of Krishna still exists in the wall, but that has been covered by a screen and a agoramana picture is being projected onto the screen, that is onto the wall. So the process is twofold. One, cover the existing thing, and two, project a new thing onto the wall. In the same way, our Atman is ever Ananda Swarupa. We do not have any limitation whatsoever. But because of the Avarana Shakti of Maya, the real Atman nature is not available for us. See, remember, in that example, when we put the screen, the picture of Krishna does not disappear from the wall. The picture of Krishna is still in the wall, but on top of the picture, the screen, the screen causes the picture to disappear as though the picture does not disappear, the painting is still in the wall. In the same way, the Atma Swarupam, we still have that Atma Swarupam, we are that Atma Swarupam, but because of that Avarana Shakti, we just don't realize that Atma Swarupa. That is the Avarana Shakti. Only if Avarana Shakti is there, it is fine. You have a beautiful picture of Krishna, you put a screen in front of it, that is okay. The wall is still watchable. But the problem comes when you are projecting a pay movie, a ghost film in that wall. Then instead of adoring the wall painting, instead of the same wall, instead of inciting a sense of happiness, inciting a sense of blissfulness into you, the same wall incites a sense of fear onto you. In the same way, if the Atma Swarupam is disappeared, whenever I say disappeared, please put in double quotes. It does not disappear, it looks disappeared. So when the Atma Swarupam looks disappeared, it is fine. We don't know who we are, but we do not have any problem. That what happens in the deep sleep state. We don't know who we are. So even in the deep sleep state, we have not identified ourselves with the Atma Swarupam, but we don't identify with our body as well. So we don't have any of the shoka. We forget our knee pain. We forget the son has not gotten married. The daughter has not gotten married. All those problems we forget in our deep sleep state because the Vikshepa Shakti is not there. Once we wake up and in the dreaming state, because of the Vikshepa Shakti, the body is getting projected onto the screen. That is where we have problem. I hope next time, whenever you guys see a movie, instead of looking at the movie, this Vedantic concept should come into our mind. This is the real goal of Viveka Chudamani class. So whenever you guys go next to a movie, you should all be remembering of Avarana Shakti, the screen, and Vikshepa Shakti, the projection, and problem comes because of the Vikshepa Shakti. Acharya explains the Avarana Shakti and Vikshepa Shakti in these shlokas, even though the Atma Swarupam is Akhanda Nityadvaya Bodha Shaktya Spurantamatmanam Ananta Vaibhavam, even though our Atma, even though our real nature is Akhanda, Nitya, Advaya, Bodha, even Ananta Vaibhavam, even though our real nature is like pretty Krishna picture in that wall, what happens? Samavrunoti avriti shakti resha, Samavrunoti avriti shakti resha, Tamomayira hurivarka bimbam. Because of the avriti, because of the avarana shakti, avriti shakti means avarana shakti, because of the Avarana Shakti of Maya, Esha Avarana Shakti, because of the Avarana Shakti of Maya, and that Avarana Shakti is caused by Tamomayi, that Avarana Shakti is caused by Tamoguna, Rahurivarka Bimbam, just like how sun is being eclipsed, the real nature of Atman, the pretty picture of Krishna, disappears as though this caused by the Avarana Shakti of Maya. Okay, the problem, real problem comes because of the Vikshepa Shakti. Tirobhute Swatmani Amalatara Tejo Vatipuman Anatmanam Mohat Ahamiti Shariram Kalayati. Tirobhute, after being screened, after being eclipsed by the Maya, that is after the after effect of the Avarana Shakti. Tirobhute Swatmani Amalatara Tejo Vatipuman. Again here Swatmani, the real nature of Atman, which is Amalatara Tejovati. These two are the real nature of Atman. Amalam, Malam means Kutram. Malam means dosha. Amalam means no doshas. Ever pure. Atman is ever pure. Even though the Atman is ever pure, even though the Atman is called as Tejovati, Atman is self-illuminating. What happens? Anatmanam mohat ahamiti shariram kalayati. Mohat, because of the delusion, because of the Vikshepa Shakti, because of the delusion, the Puman, the person, the Jiva, Anatmanam aham shariram iti kalayati. He thinks that shariram to be his real nature. Anatmanam aham shariram. They both are the object. Shariram is the object and shariram is anatma. Because shariram is not atma, aham iti shariram, aham shariram iti kalayiti. Shariram, அவன் ஷரீரத்தை நான் என்று நினைத்துக் கொள்கிறான். He owns up his body. He thinks he is his body. What happens then? Tataha Kamakrodha prabhritiramum bandhana gunaihi param vikshepakya rajasa urushaktir vyathayati. Because of that mistaken identity, because of misidentification with the body, kama krodha prabhritiramum bandhana gunaihi, he is being bound by kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, and matsarya. He is being bound by the shad ripu. Shad ripu. Ripu means yadri. Ripu means enemies. He is being bound by the sixfold enemies of kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, which belongs to the body. He thinks he is the body and he is bound by all these six shad ripus. Why? Param vikshepakya, because of the vikshepa shakti, and vikshepa shakti is caused by what? Vikshepa shakti is caused by the rajoguna of Maya. Maya has got Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. If you have Sattva-guna, you don't have any problem. You can see what it is. But the Rajoguna and Tamoguna of Maya is responsible for Vikshepa Shakti and Avarana Shakti of Maya. That causes problems everywhere. So, what causes bondage? The short answer is Maya causes the bondage. How Maya causes the bondage? Maya causes bondage because of its Avarana Shakti and Vikshepa Shakti. Through Avarana Shakti, the true nature of Atman is being eclipsed. Through Vikshepa Shakti, the Jiva misidentifies the body as his own nature. And problem comes once the body identification happens, because all the problems of body is assumed to be my own problem. If I have knee pain, we'll say I have knee pain. If somebody, if some unwanted thing happens in our life, we get shokamo shokam, we get mohamo moham. We think that all those things are affecting me, but in reality, if we think them through, they all are caused by body identification. The likes of the body becomes one's likes, the dislikes of the body becomes one's dislikes. When I say body, you have to include Stula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, and Karna Sharira. So this is what causes the bondage. So now we have seen answer for 4 questions. We have seen what is Atma, we have seen what is Anatma, we have seen what is bondage, we have seen how does it arise. Now we are going to see how is bondage sustained. What is the how does the bondage get sustained in our body? That is what we are going to see next. Here, beautiful beautiful comparison is being given with the samsara and a tree. Samsara is being compared to a tree, and the jiva, the atma, is compared to a bird that is present in the tree. How beautiful explanation. Let us see. बीजं संस्मृति भूमिजस्य तु तमो देहात्मधीरं कुरो रागः पल्लवमम्बुकर्म तु वपुः स्कन्धो सवशाखिनाः अग्राणीन्द्रियसंहतिश्च विषयाः पुष्पानि दुःखं फलं नानाकर्म समुद्भवं बहुविधं भोक्तारजीवः खगः, says Acharya in Viveka Chudamani. Bijam samsmriti bhumi jasyatu tamo. Whenever there is a tree, there has to be a seed, right? So the seed of samsara vriksha is tamoguna. So because of the tamoguna, the samsara apparently starts. Bijam samsmriti bhumi. The seed of samsara is tamoguna. Dehatma dhiram kuro, the attachment with the body. The sprout, if we have molakatradumba, the sprouts we have all seen, bean sprouts, etc., moong dal sprouts, etc., we have seen. The seed has to go through the sprout stage in order to grow to a full blown tree, right? The ahankara means the attachment with the body, the I-ness, that is called as the ahankara, not the normal meaning of ahankara, which is, the normal meaning of ahankara is different. So the Shastric meaning of ahankara, aham kara, the I-ness, the attachment with the body, the identification with the body is called as ahankara. That ahankara is Dehatma Dhirankuraha. Ankuraha means sprouts. Dehatma Dhirankuraha. Ragah Pallava Mambukarma. Ragaha Pallavaha. Pallavaha means leaves. So there has to be a leaf, right, in a tree. What are the leaves of the tree? The leaves of the tree is raga dvesha. Whenever raga is there, you have to supply dvesha as well. It is the leaves which feed the tree, right? The tree derives its food from the leaves and from water. Those are the two main food source for a tree. We eat, that is our food source. But for a tree, because of the leaves photosynthesis, trees grows, it also needs water. So what are the two food source for the samsara vriksha? One is raga pallavaha. Pallavaha means leaf. The raga dvesha and ambu karma. Ambu means water. All the actions that we perform, all the karma. Here karma means papa and punya from the previous janmas, from the anadi previous janmas. Because of ragadvesha and because of papa punya, those feed the tree. Raga pallava mambu karma tu apuhu skandho savashakhina. Skandaha, the body. So what is the body? The trunk is the body. Vapuhu means our body. Trunk is skandaha. Skandaha vapuhu. The body is the trunk of the tree. And shakinaha, the branches are pranas. Asavaha means pranas, the pancha pranas. So the pancha pranas are the branches of the tree. The body, human body, is the trunk of the tree. Ragav Pallavaha Ambhu Karmatu Vapuhu Skandosava Shakhikaha Agranindriya Samhatischa Vishayaha Pushpani Dukkham Palam. Agrani Indriya Samhatischa Palaha. The small twigs, which branches out from the main branch, they are the organs of actions. They are the karmendriyani. So the twigs are karmendriyani and vishayaha pushpani. Whenever there is a tree, there has to be pushpas, there has to be flowers, right? The sense objects are the flowers. And dukkham palam, what comes from flower? So fruit comes from the flowers, right? So what is the fruit that sense objects give? Dukkham phalam. All the sense objects, even though they look nice, even though it is like an itch, when you scratch the itch, it is very, very nice. It feels very, very good. But the moment you finish scratching the itch, the problem starts. In the same way, all the sense objects are like those flowers. But when the flowers grow into fruits, they become sorrow. Dukkham palam. Nana karma samudbhavam bahuvitam. All the nana karma samastam. And what happens? From the dukkham, from the fruits, another seed is going to come. That is tamas. And that seed is going to grow into another body. So all the cycle, the self-sustained cycle of the tree goes on, goes on, goes on. And by giving example of the tree, Acharya is also hinting at the anaditvam of the tree. What comes, which came first, the tree or the seed? Tree comes from the seed. The seed comes from the tree. So this is like a cycle. You cannot say which came first, the chicken or the hen. You cannot answer that logically, right? In the same way, by giving the example of tree for samsara, Acharya is hinting that the entire samsara does not have any beginning. It is anadi, it is cyclic. Okay, in this tree, who am I? I am this bird that is sitting in the tree. By this, Acharya says, hey bird, you are not the part of a tree. You are different from the tree. However, you derive pleasure from the tree. The bird needs tree for its protection. The bird needs to eat the fruits from the tree. The bird will drink honey from the flowers. All those things the bird will do. However, the bird is not the tree. The jivaha, bhoktara jiva khagaha. Khagaha means bird. Bhoktara jiva khagaha. The one who enjoys the tree. The one who observes the tree. The one who enjoys the tree is the bird. But what is really he is enjoying? He is enjoying the fruits. The bird will eat the fruit, right? And but what is the fruit? The fruit is sorrow. That is why the bird will have all stomach problems because of that problem. I am not saying, Acharya is saying. And he says, Ajnana Mulo Ayamatma Bandhaha Naisargiko Nadi Rananta Iritaha Janmapyaya Vyadhi Jaradi Dukhaha Pravahapatam Janayatyamushyaha Ajnana Mulaha Ayamatma Bandhaha Naisargiko Anadi Rananta Iritaha. Because the whole samsara has got its moolam. The root of all the samsara is ajnana, which is ignorance, and that causes ayam atma bandhaha, that causes bondage, and this is anadi, naisargiko, anadihi, ananta iritaha. The tree, it cycles, it goes on, goes on, goes on. Janmapyaya vyadhi jaradi dukkhaha, jaradi dukkha pravaha patam janayatya mushyaha. Because of the samsara, what are we getting? Janma. Janma means birth. Apyaya. Janma. Apyaya means death. Vyadhi, all the disease. Jaradhi dukkhaha. Jaram means getting old age. Jara maranam we say. Jara is getting old age. Vyadhi, all the diseases. Apyaya, death. Janma, birth. Everything is what? Dukkhaha. Everything is sorrow. There is a problem in being born. There is a people don't like to be born, and after we born, people don't like death as well. And between the two, birth and death, we face a lot of problems. Vyadhi, jara, jaradi, dukkha. All those things are problem because of this samsara vriksha, says Acharya in Viveka Chudamani. At this juncture, I want to introduce another Upanishad called as Mundaka Upanishad, because this is what the Indian philosophy is based on Upanishads. And in Mundaka Upanishad, samsara is compared to a vriksha and jiva is compared to a bird. In Mundaka Upanishad, there are two birds. This is a very famous philosophical example. This is a very famous concept in Indian Sanatana Dharma philosophy. What is the thing? We will see, because in Devatan Kural, Mahapereva has talked a lot about this concept. Dvasuparna sayuja sakhaya samanam vriksham parishasvajayate tayoranyah pippalam swadhyavatyan anashnanyo abhichagashiti samane vrikshe purusho nimagnaha anishaya shochati buhyamanaha दुष्टम यदा पश्यत्यन्यमीशवस्य महिमानं iti vita shokaha. There is a tree. You have to close your eyes and imagine. There is a big tree that is present in a forest. And on that tree, there are two birds, Dwa Suparna. There are two birds that is sitting on the tree. One bird starts eating the fruits of the tree. It starts eating the tree's fruit. It starts building its nest in the tree. It starts enjoying all the comfort that the tree has started to offer, that the tree is offering. For some time, for the bird which is consuming, everything looks awesome because it is eating lot of food. It has got a place to stay. It can procreate well. So there is no problem. But later, because of that fruit that came from the tree, this bird has started stomach ache. This bird has started getting problems because dukkam phalam, whatever the fruit the tree has to offer, it is dukkam. So one bird, it enjoys everything, it is also suffering. What happens to the second bird? The second bird, it did not enjoy anything, and because of that, it is also not suffering. Tayoranyaha pippalam swadhyavatya ashnan anyaha abhichaka shiti. Because the first bird has started eating, it has started getting all the problems. Now it sees the second bird. Samane vrikshe purusho nimagraha anishaya shochati muhyamanaha. It sees the second bird and the first bird realizes something. Seeing the second bird, the first bird thinks, hey, all my problems is due to my eating the tree. All the problems is due to my eating the fruits of the tree. But my real nature is not all these problems. My real nature is like that second bird, which do not have any problems. This is compared to Jivatma and Paramatma. The bird which eats all the tree, the bird which enjoys which first enjoyed the fruits of the tree and then which started suffering is the Jivatma. Because we are enjoying the samsara. At first, samsara looks like enjoyment. We are enjoying the samsara, but then now we got entangled into the spider web of samsara, because whatever the samsaram has to offer, it has got three doshas: dukkha mishritatvam, atriptikaratvam, bandhakatvam. We have seen the meaning of these three n number of times. Dukkha mishritatvam, atriptikaratvam, bandhakatvam. I thought that the fruit of samsara is going to give me security, peace, and happiness, but unfortunately, they don't. They only cause more problems for me. Now, this Jivatma, look at that Paramatman, which do not interfere in samsara. The Paramatman, which has not come under the clutches of samsara, then the Jivatma understands, hey, all my dukkham, it is because of this samsara. Once I realize my true nature of Paramatman, once I stop eating the fruits of the samsara tree, I will also be as happy as the second bird. The, the Jiva, the first bird thinks. Now, this story has gone to several regions and it got modified. I am not saying, Mahaperiyavas is saying. We have all heard the story of Adam and Eve. What happens to the story of Adam and Eve? In that story, the Adam is not eating any fruit. Eve ate the fruit first, and Eve causes Adam to eat that fruit. It is called as tree of knowledge. Eve causes Adam to eat that forbidden fruit, which causes the samsara. But this story, Mahaperiyava says, is the Moola story. This story is the original story where the Jiva, by seeing Paramatma, he stops eating the fruit. in the Adam and Eve story, the Jiva, after seeing, that is Adam, after seeing Eve, he will start eating the fruit. But here the original story, Mahaperiyava says, the Jiva, after seeing the Paramatma, there are two beings. One being has not eaten anything, the other being has consumed the fruit. The being which consumed the fruit, the being sees the other bird which has not had anything and was happy. So this person also stops eating the fruit and he gets moksha. That is why Acharya even says Pippalam, the word apple is very, very near to the word Pippalam. Apple, Pippa, app. I'm not saying Mahaperiyava says in Devathan Kural, this could be the original story, but because of story changes as time goes by, because of that change, things has changed. Because of that process, things have changed. Mahaperiyava beautifully explains this in Devathan Kural, but this is a very famous example in Indian philosophy. All we have to do is look at the Paramatma and we say, hey, I don't belong to this tree, but I am one of that kind. Birds of the same feather flock together. I don't have to identify myself with the tree. Rather, I identify myself with Paramatma. That is what we have to do, says Viveka Chodamani. Now moving on to the next question by the student. Okay, you have told me what is Atma, you have told me what is Anatma, you have told me what is the bondage, you have told me how does the bondage arise, you have even told me how is it sustained. All those things are not going to help me because I am in samsara. The one question that I want to know is how to get rid of samsara. How to get rid of samsara is the one question that I am really interested in. And that is what the Acharya is going to talk about next. But before how to get rid of samsara, Acharya says how not to get rid of samsara. If you want to open a lock, you have to use the right key to open a lock. If you are using another key, you have 1,000 keys, but all those 1,000 keys are not made for this lock. Even though you have 1,000 keys, even though you try each key 10 times, so 10,000 times you try with a wrong key, that is not going to open the lock. In the same way, Acharya here lists all the wrong keys, all the things that are not going to open the lock of samsara. What are the keys? Nastrairna shastraihi na alilena vannina chetum na shakyaha na chakarma kotibihi viveka vijnana mahasina vina dhatu prasadena shitena manjuna. He says, viveka vijnana mahasina vina. The whole big tree of samsara is there. You need an axe to chop down the tree of samsara. What should be the axe? The axe should be viveka vijnanam. That axe should be that of knowledge, vijnanam, and viveka, discrimination. Only with discriminatory knowledge you can chop down the tree of samsara. Rather, he puts in double negative, without the discriminatory knowledge, without the viveka vijnana mahasina vina, without the viveka vijnana, the tree of samsara cannot be chopped down at all. He says, what are the other keys that people have tried? Nastraihi, na shastraihi, na anilena vannina. The samsara tree cannot be destroyed by any weapons. Astra, shastra are the weapons. They cannot be destroyed by any weapon. They cannot be destroyed by water. They cannot be the samsara tree cannot be destroyed by any wind, because normal tree is uprooted by wind. But this tree cannot be uprooted by wind. Normal tree can be burnt down by fire, but this tree cannot be burnt down by fire. Chetum na shakyaha nacha karma kotibihi. whatever karma you do, whatever actions you perform, the tree of samsara can never be chopped down except with the acts of viveka, vijnana, except the acts of jnana and discrimination. Here he says, what is the process? What is the exact process by which samsara can be removed? It is a two-step process. First process is called as karma yoga. Second step is called as jnana yoga. In the first step, Shruti Pramanaika Mate Swadharma Nishthatayaivatma Vishuddhirasya. First, we have to gain something called as Chitta Shuddhi, purification of mind. Atma Vishuddhirasya. Atma here means mind. Vishuddhirasya, you get purification of mind through what? Shruti Pramanaika Matehe Swadharma Nishtha. Because of following all the karmas, karma nishte. Swadharma nishtha means following all the karmas that are enjoined by Shruti Pramana, that have been dictated by the Vedas. Vedas prescribes n number of karmas. There are a lot of karmas in Vedas. Doing Sandhya Vandanam is a karma. Doing Bhagavan's puja is a karma. Making prasadams for Bhagavan's puja is a karma. Helping the person who does the puja, it is a karma. All those things have been enjoined by Shruti. Here we are not talking about all the secular karmas, going to the office. We are not talking about all those things. We are talking about doing yaga, doing yajna, panchamaha yajnas. We have seen in detail, and even in Devat and Kural, we have seen in detail what are panchamaha yajnas. All those panchamaha yajnas are present in Shruti, Smriti, and all the Dharma Shastras. So we have to do all those karmas in order to get what? In order to get Chitta Shuddhi. That is the first step in the process. Normally, people think that Vedanta is opposed to doing any karmas. Normally, people say Vedanta, especially Advaita Vedanta, if you take to it, the first step that you need to do is to stop doing all the karmas. That is what Neo Vedantins or modern Vedantins proclaim. But our Shastra is very, very clear. Adi Shankaracharya in his Shopana Panchakam says, Vedho Nityam Adiyatam Tadutitam Karma Swanushthiyatam. You have to do Vedadhyayanam and you have to do karma that is enjoined by Vedas. There is absolutely no two questions about that. We have to be very, very clear, because now, especially with lot of people teaching Vedanta, with lot of people claiming to be Vedantic masters, they will say all those karma is hocus pocus. It is not going to help you to get moksha. That statement is partially true. Karma will not get you moksha. I do Sandhya Vandanam, that is not going to give me moksha. I do Pujai for Bhagavan, yes, that is not going to give me moksha, but all those things are going to give me Chitta Shuddhi. Swami Paramarthananda says, you are going to an university to do a PhD. I want to do a PhD in molecular biology. If I see the requirements, what are the things that are required? I need to complete a thesis and I need to do some courses. I need to take some courses. I need to complete a thesis. I need to fulfill all these requirements to finish my PhD in molecular biology. Okay. If somebody asks you, okay, during your PhD program for 5 years, have you eaten any food? Obviously, for 5 years, I'm going to eat a lot of food. But that food is not going to give me any PhD. right? The requirements for getting a PhD degree is completing my thesis. Only that is going to give me PhD, but I need to survive in order to write my thesis, and for my survival, food is absolutely essential. In the same way, it is jnanam that is going to give me moksha. There is no question about that. But in order to gain jnanam, I need to have chitta shuddhi. My mind should be purified, and for the purification of my mind, I need to do all those karmas. So doing all those karmas is like eating for your survival, and getting jnana through Vedantic studies during Vedanta Shravana Manana Nididhyasanam, studying Viveka Chudamani, studying all the Upanishads, is like writing my thesis. Writing my thesis is going to give me PhD. Doing Vedanta Shravana Manana Nididhyasana is going to give me moksha. But without eating, I will not be alive to get my PhD. In the same way, without doing karma, all the Vedanta Manana, Vedanta Shravana Manana Nididhyasanam will go waste. Adi Shankaracharya, he wherever in his Upanishad Bhashyams, yes, he will talk about jnanam, 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 but karmena vina jnanam, jnanam without karma will not give you any benefit. I have not talked about gulab jamun for a while. Now I'll talk about gulab jamun. Say you want to eat gulab jamun. What is gulab jamun? It is that ball fried in oil or ghee. That is gulab jamun. But if somebody just fries gulab jamun and asks you to eat, you cannot eat that. It has to be soaked in the syrup. In the same way, jnanam has to be soaked in the syrup of karma for you to enjoy moksha. Eating gulab jamun is getting moksha, and that balls is jnanam, and that syrup is karma. So you cannot just eat jnanam, because that is people normally call varattu Vedantam. People will talk, right? In the same way, just that fried ball, if you have not tried eating that, I would strongly suggest you to start eating that fried ball without soaking in that syrup. You cannot eat it. It is going to be very, very dry. Unless that ball of jnanam is soaked in the syrup of bhakti and karma, you cannot enjoy the gulab jamun of moksha. With this, we will finish today's class.